In today's class for today, we'll be looking at chart and data visualization. Chart and data visualization. That's what we'll be looking at in today's class. And I want you to pay a full attention to what we will be talking about today, because it's very, very important for you to know this part I'm going to be talking about, because most of the things that give you a good presentation as a data analytics is in the area of your chart and data visualization. But before I move further, I would just like to do a recap of what we did last week. I'll just use for the next 10 minutes to just do a recap of what we did last week. So let me just quickly open that particular slide. Okay, do I have it now? Okay, please hold on. Please hold on. Okay, that is on the module 1. I'm still looking for that particular slide that we looked at last week, module 1, lesson 1. Okay, I think I'll be able to find it here. Okay, so last week we actually started by introducing the course, and we look at some things that are very, very paramount to data analytics. Here, this is the slide that was used and it was also shared. So we built a foundation to look at data analytics using Excel and Power BI. So we went further to just talk about a bit about the company. We said that the company hosting this cohort is the NextGen Digital company, and they are into empowering digital trailblazers to become a fintech. And this is what they are all about. This is all about us. We are a dynamic hub of innovations and a beacon of integrity in the business world. We look at some of our values. We believe in innovation, global perspective, integrity, collaboration, and we believe in excellence. Our services is on the area of data analytics, UI UX, mobile application, front-end development, back-end development, and digital marketing and graphic design. And we also have each of these courses are based on different levels of what you want to achieve. We started by the beginner-friendly class, then you move to intermediate class, up to the master level. It's the master level that enables you to become a professional in any of these fields that we have chosen to venture into as a tech as trailblazers. So we also said that NextGen is a company that have their legal backup as a registration. So I said that we are registered under the CAC, the Corporate Affairs Commission, as NextGen Digital Academy Limited. And we've been around since 2023, and this is 2 years running. Then we move further to talk about what data analytics is. We say that basically on data analytics, it is all about making an informed decision. And part of what data analytics is expected to do is to look into the data, and examine the data, organize the data, transform the data, and interpret the data to give an information about the data. And in this world, information is very key, because information is what organizations, individuals, and management make use of in order to make decisions. So when we want to make a decision, we don't just make an informed decision. We make decision based on the data that have been analyzed, that have been transformed, and that data will help us to improve our performance, improve our processes, and also help us in the area of profit making. And we said that the boss behind all of this transformation of organizing, examining, and analysis is the data analyst. So a data analyst is a profession that is skilled in that area to actually look into data and be able to transform data into a meaningful information that can be used for decision making. So we look at that aspect last week. Then we look at some of the proficient skills for a data analyst to have. We said as a data analyst, you must know some of the data analytics tools. You must know them at a very good level. Just knowing your Excel, your Power BI, your SQL. And after that, it is also important that you know your statistical analysis and modeling tools also. As a data analyst, you must have a problem solving skills. You must be able to see a problem from a data and be able to use that data to transform the problem, providing solutions to that data. And as a data analyst, you do that by making use of what we call visualization. Visualization is still the area that will be considered today, and we're going to be looking at it critically to ensure all of those things. And we look at the benefits of data analysis. Data analysis helps in better decision making, in greater efficiency. It helps in improving productivity. It helps in cost saving. And we thought that one of the areas that is very, very important to every organization is how to reduce costs and also how to reduce costs and improve their profit. And in that area, we can use data analysis to help to address such areas. So we look at some of the companies that make use of data analytics as a way of improving what they do. So we look at the Netflix, look at Microsoft. We are able to explain all of this last week. We now also be able to talk about saying that the data analytics is applied to virtually every areas of human endeavor, especially in the area of banking, healthcare, education, that are very, very important to us. So we also looked at why do we need to choose data analytics as a career, because of the high demand and job security, the competitive salaries, and diverse career opportunities, opportunities for continuous learning and pathway. All of these were explained last week. Then we look at the salary scale of a data analyst. And looking at the salary scale of a data analyst, we could attest that the salary scale of a data analyst is a good one, because as a data analyst, no company wants to joke with you. So they tend to give you some good payoff at the end of the day when your job is being delivered. And we look at companies like Andela, companies like Forrester Waves, Interswitch, and Nigerian companies that would afford to pay a good amount for a data analyst at different levels. And we look at the tools of the data analytics, look at this. So then we went further to talk about what a data is, because we cannot begin to talk about data analysis without having an understanding of what a data is and what analysis is. So we said that our data comes in the form of numbers, in the form of text, in the form of documents, in the form of images, audios, and videos. And that's the way our data is being presented to us, for us to examine them, for us to organize them, for us to transform them, and also to analyze them into what will give us an informed decision at the end of the day. Then we have different categories of data, and we said we have the structured data, semi-structured, and unstructured. By the way, they also determine what they represent as well. So I'm just doing a recap of what last week's lecture is. And we said that there are 4 V's of a big data. That data has a volume, it has velocity, it has variety, and it has veracity. And we said that in terms of volume, data can be large. can come in different sizes and all. In terms of velocity, it talks about the speed. And in terms of varieties, it talks about different forms of data that we have. And in terms of veracity, it talks about the reliability of data. This is where we stopped last week, and this is where I'm going to be picking up from in this lecture for today. So I will want you to follow me intently to be able to benefit a lot from today's class. Please ensure that you follow me as I move. All right. So before I move forward on that, I still want to believe that everybody could hear me. If you can hear me, just drop a thumb up on the chat box. Please just drop a thumb up on the chat box. Although we are also recording this session as well. After the class, you can as well listen to it over and over again to gain some insight into what has been discussed. Okay, thank you so much. I can see that some people could hear me in the chat box. So today we'll be looking at chart and data visualization. Chart and data visualization. Chart and data visualization. Now, in chart and data visualization, it is one of the areas that are very, very important. One of the areas that are very, very important when it comes to data analytics. And you know that chart and data visualization is also part of the stages of data analytics life cycle. So if I'm presenting my data, it is expected that I present my data using chart or using graph or using some data visualization to present my chart. So if I move forward from here, I said that data visualization is the graphical representation of information and data. By using visual elements like chart, graph, maps, data visualization tools provide an accessible way to see and understand trends and outlines and patterns. So in data visualization, it is very important because the area on your organization or the people that are making presentation to want to see is in that area of visualization. And I have been able to build up this process of life cycle again. And I felt that in this process, what you look at this process is from stage 1 up to stage 8. Here you have the generation, the collection, the processing, the storage, the management, the analysis. And I said that all of these stages from stage 1 to 6, it is not visible to whoever you are making the presentation to. So this is like a backend for a data analyst to work on. So when I'm doing my data generation, data collection, data processing, data storage, data management, data analysis, nobody wants to care. Nobody wants to be interested in what you're doing. How you are transforming your data, how you are collecting your data, how you are processing your data. Nobody wants to know. So this is where the skill of a data analyst comes in. When it comes to the generation, the collection, the processing, the storage, the management, and the analysis. But what your employer or management or organization want to see in the areas of data in order for them to make an informed decision is in the aspect of visualization. In this stage 7, it is in the aspect of visualization and interpretation. So if you are a data analyst and you are not visualizing your data very well and you are not interpreting your data very well, it's going to have an effect on what you have done. And all of these visualization and interpretation, they are dependent on what you have done from stage 1 to stage 6. So if your generation, your collection, your processing, your storage, your management and analysis are wrong is likely for you to have a bad visualization. It's likely for you to have a visualization that might not present your data the way it's supposed to be presented. It's likely for you to have an interpretation that will not have a good correlations with your data. So it is essential that when you are going through all the process from 1 to 6, that as a data analyst, you are really doing the right process, what you need to do before we go into the area of visualization and interpretation on that aspect. So today we'll basically look at that visualization and interpretation. All these areas of processing, story management, and all the analysis, we are going to be looking at all of those areas in our recording video for this week. So I'm just going to look at all those, how to present your data, what your data represents, and what your data is, because visualization is so much important to us. It's just a case of nobody wants to know. Nobody wants to know how you build your house. Nobody wants to know how many blocks you have used, how many slates you have put together, how many ceilings that you have bought. But most people want to know is to see how beautiful, how attractive the building is. And that is where visualization and interpretation comes in data analysis. So that is so important for a data analyst to put more attention on that area. So I'll move forward to say, what story is your data trying to deliver? What story is your data trying to deliver? A data visualization is to uncover stories behind your data. So every data that you have, your organization will not understand what your data represents. They will not understand the information that is behind the data. But your organization will so much be interested in the data visualization because they can see all the representation and they can relate with it. They may not be able to relate with the data, but they can relate with your visualization. So you ask yourself, what is the key message or insight to this data that I'm trying to deliver? What does this information impact your audience? And also the visualization must align the central theme without unnecessary complexity. When I want to present my data, I want to look into my data and understand my data, I must be able to know what that data is going to deliver in terms of data presentation, what the data is going to represent, what the data is going to do as well. And the key message of that data must not be missing. You are presenting your data, it must not be missing. So we'll look at who will you present your result to. You must understand your audience. What audience? First of all, you have to look at what areas of application are you applying to. Your audience are coming from the area of medical. I must represent data and visualization with some medical visuals, with some sheet of medicals, so that it can better explain what I'm talking about in my data. And that's why as a data analyst, you must have some little skills about different colors and shapes that you need to use, because you need to understand your audience. Are they technical experts or general stakeholders? You look at all those aspects. You don't need a high-level summary or in-depth analysis. Are they people you just need to talk on the interface to say, okay, for this data, this is the result. What we do this, it will help us in productivity. This one will help us to generate a profit and all of that. If at that level, we might need to talk in depth on what each of those data is talking about. And that one is what is saying that how are you going to present your result to? The audience that you are presenting your result to is also important in this case as well. So how big is your data? Is your data small? Is your data large? We talk about the 4 V's of a data. And one of the 4 V's of a data is volume. Volume with data are measured in their sizes. So if I have a small data, small data is better to be represented by using a bar chart or a P chart when I'm having a small data. But when my data is large, using a bar chart or a bar chart might be clumsy, might be clustered together in a way that it will not be able to explain what it needs to explain on my details effectively. So we look at that aspect. So if the data is large, it's better to use something like a line graph, something like int map or a scatter plot. It's better to use when my data is large, when I'm dealing with a large forms of data set. I have to consider all of those things. And when we're looking at a large forms of data set, and a large forms of data set, and we want to find patterns, we want to find trends to something when our data is large. But when our data is small, considering the bar chart, the P chart, the column chart can be a better options for us to explore. So we must know the size of the data. The size of the data will determine the chart or the graph that you are going to be using, so that you will not be applying the wrong chart for the wrong data. How do the different elements of your data relate with each other? Identify relationship. These are like, all of this is just talking about questions that we need to ask our data. Whenever we want to do everything on our data, these are questions we need to ask. How do the different elements of your data relate with each other? Identify the relationship. What is their correlation? What is the relationship they share? What connection are they having? These data are they having together? Let's say I have a data that I want to talk about product ID and product name. Of course, product ID and product name has a relationship together, because if I have a product ID, I can have a product name, and a product name can lead me to have the product model, something like that. So you must be able to understand different relationships that exist within your data set that you have, and the connection that they share within each other. And those relationships that you establish in your data will also determine the kind of graph or chart that you might need to use for that data. So we move further. What are the 5 questions to ask when deciding which type of chart to use? What are the 5 questions to ask when determining or deciding which type of chart to use? As a data analyst, I will employ you. I will ask you to keep this at the back of your head. It is so important to everything you need to do in data visualization. Very important to everything you need to do in data visualization, because this explains every of the charts that you need to use, the right chart that is appropriate, when to use the chart, and the representation of the chart, the data representation of it, and how the graph will also look like. Here is asking, do you want to compare values? When we are comparing values, we want to find out, does this A have a relationship with B? Does B have a relationship with A? Does this have a relationship with this? So we want to compare the values. So when we are dealing with comparison of values or finding to relationship, or want to see how a company have done in year 2023 and in year 2024, we want to determine the profit margin. It means that there is a relationship. What is the profit margin between year 2023 and 2024 or 2025? It means there is a relationship that exists within that data values that we have. Please, if you can still hear me, drop a thumb up. Let me be sure that you can still hear me. I just want to be sure that I'm just talking to myself. Everybody in this call can hear me clearly. All right, thank you. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. So let's proceed. Let me be sure I'm carrying everybody out. Thank you. So we want to do that comparison. So everywhere you have comparison that exists, the best forms of data to use is the best forms of chart to use is the bar chart. So when we do comparison, you can use a bar chart because it clearly spread out all the data that you want to use. You can use a column chart, you can use a line chart, you can use to compare different categories of trends. So like I said, I want to know the profit margin in an organization between year 2023 to 2025. So I'm doing a comparison between 2023, 2024, and 2025. I can use this bar chart to just see different margins that exist in each of those years. I can also see in each quarter of each of those years also, I see demand. So the best chart to use for this kind of thing is the bar chart or the column chart or the line chart is the best forms of chart to use. So as a data analyst, you will not forget, because when you are doing comparison of different data and you are using a chart like line chart will give you a result, but your result presentation will be wrong. So you must consider the right charts to use for a particular data. Number two, it says, do you want to show the composition of something? Do you want to show the composition of something? Maybe I want to look at a percentage of something, or I want to look at I want to look at the margin that exists between different parameters. I can use the bar chart, or use the start bar chart, or use the tree bar to show that composition of something. So if I want to see that composition between my data, how my data are having to share some things with each other, my data are having to share some relationship with each other, I can use this kind of thing. That is different from comparison. Because comparison, we want to say, okay, is it high, is it low, is it this? But in this composition, we want to see, okay, this one, we have a product ID, and also we are having a product ID name, things like that. There are relationships that they share with each other. And the questions to ask is, do you want to understand the distribution of your data? If you want to understand the distribution of your data, how your data are being distributed in various forms. Yes, I have a store somewhere. I want to know how each of the customers are doing, how the products are being distributed to them. I can decide to make use of my Instagram, box plots, and scatter plots to identify data spread and variabilities. I can choose to use this. Then the fourth one is, are you interested in analyzing trends in your data? Are you interested in analyzing trend in your data? I want to know the trend. If something is happening, what has been the trend of these things? What is the trend? It means that something that has been happening and now become a pattern is a trend. It has been happening and it has now become a pattern. I want to know, see the trends. Now that has been happening. Maybe we've been having a rainfall for the past 7 days. I want to see the trends of the rainfall. Okay, well, at what point does it fall? Does it fall in the morning? Does it fall at night? Does it fall in the morning? Is it falling like? And all of that. In that case, I want to look at the trends of what has happened. So I'm using the line chart or the area chart to display the trends over time that it has happened. So I can use all of that to just display the trends of what has happened over the time that I'm making use of it. So in that case, the fifth question says, do you want to understand the relationship between value sets? What is the relationship between your value sets? When they say relationship between value sets, it means that there is a set that has an entity. There's another set also that also have an entity. What that means is that maybe I have different forms of data somewhere. I have a data for Superstore A. I have another data for Superstore B. Then I'm able to see the relationship of those value sets. Superstore A is a value set. Another Superstore B is another value set. So if I want to understand the relationship between those value sets, I can use what we call the scatter plot, the bubble chart, the heat map to explore relationship between different variables that I have in that form. So these are the major 5 questions to ask as a data analyst when deciding the type of data to use. So if I want to, maybe I'm dealing with a data and I'm confused, what kind of data I need to use? How do I go about this data? How will this data found in the aspect that I want to use it? You must know the right data to use, because the right data you use will determine the presentation of your data, how it's going to be interpreted, and also is going to be visualized. And don't forget, all of this data is going to be transformed in a graphical form so that it will be much more explainable to whoever is your audience, whether your employer, whether an organization, is going to be much more explainable. So looking at those data and telling the kind of charts to use is very important. Then here I have the top 7 use chart type. What are the top 7? These are like some of the charts that you cannot do away with as a data analyst. So you must have it at the back of your head. No matter the data that you have, it might be within these charts that is listed here that you are going to use them. So you must, if you have tried a bar chart and it's not giving you the right relationship or connection, you know, okay, it deals with line chart, it deals with bar chart, and all of that. And when to use some of these charts is also very, very important. For the bar chart, we say what we are doing comparisons of value across categories. For the line chart, when we want to look at trends or patterns of what has happened over time. For the bar chart, when we display proportion or percentage, in bar chart we use percentage to display some functionalities. In Instagram we use effective for showing frequency and distribution. In scatter plot, it shows relationship or correlations between 2 values. The heat map, we visualize data density or intensity across 2 dimensions. And in stacked bar chart, it displays the composition and comparison of parts across categories. So these are 7 chart types that you cannot do away with as a data analyst. So it is so important that you understand this chart graph as well. So I'm going to be stopping here for this. So we'll do some little demonstration. So let me go into my data properly. Okay, I think I might need some things. Okay, let me look at the data that have been collected over time. You see how those analyses are done. Okay, please just follow me. We are going to do some little work here. Okay. Let's see some of our Google form that we have collected over time, and you see the display of the analysis, because Google form automatically analyze your data at the back end when you need to view the data that you have. It automatically analyzes it. Okay, let's look at data analysis tuition free program. Okay, this is the data set that we actually use for registration. I think this is the data set we use for registration. I'm going to be showing us some things. I want to believe many of us can relate with this data set. This is the one we use for our registration purpose. This is the data set. I think this is the form actually. Many of us can relate with it. Okay, so we have about 968 respondents. So those are the number of registered participants that we have for this course, 968. So if I come to this place now, you will see that for this one, it's showing that it's 100% because here it's not having any comparison with anything. This is just to show that, okay, classes begin in January 2025. As no participant that we just click this, it will just show them this. So it's not having any relationship, it's not having any connection with any forms of data. So that's why this is just giving us like 100%. The way we are just having that 100% here. Let me go forward. Now look at this. This is gender. This gender is having a very good representation. This is a very good representation for gender, showing that it's male and female. In the male and female, we have 42.8%. Now, this kind of chart now is a pie chart. This is a pie chart. So this is showing that we have 42.8% female that register for this course. Then we have 57.2% that for male that register for this course. So this is the percentage. Then here we have 414 females that have registered for this course. Then we have 554 male registered for this course. So this is just showing some little analysis about the registration process that we have collected. Now, we can look at this. This is a very good data visualization. It's giving a good representation. So I can easily explain this to any employer. I can easily explain this to any audience to say, okay, for this registration process, so this is the number of people I have. This now imagine if Google Form have not done this analysis, that will not be counting by female. Okay, 1, 2, up to 414 to know the number of female that register. In the process, you might even do a mistake. And these are part of what data analysis has come to solve. So at this back end of Google Form, there is a work of data analysis integrated into it so that we can just see the visualization. So we have here. So let's go for that. I still need to explain some things before we do some small demonstration for tonight. Now look at this. Look at this. This is as a data analyst, this is a very bad way to represent your data. This is not giving a very good representation. Now, why I'm not saying that is not giving a very good representation? Can you see that for this color, 21 to 25 years people that registered are 343. Here is showing 250, here is showing. Now, can you look at in between this place? This is like showing 1%. And in this 1%, it is not giving a good representation at all. It is not giving a good representation at all at this point. Now look at this. Here I have, okay, let me begin from 16 years to 20 years, from 21 to 25 years, from 26 to 30 years, from 35 to 40, from 40 years and above. I have this. Then this is below 16. I have 1%. Now, can you see this one is becoming clumsy. It's becoming clumsy because the representations of the data are not well clear. That's why you can see that all these ones are showing percentage. But this two that we have here is not showing percentage. So if I'm a data analyst, I will not use this bar chart to represent this age category. I will not use this bar chart to represent this age category. I will rather use a different chart entirely for the representation of this category, because this is not depicting everything that I want. It's too clumsy. You cannot be making a presentation that will not be so clear and precise to your audience. So it's so important that we look at this. But the reason why Google Form is using this bar chart for this also is because at the back end of the Google Form, what Google Form uses strictly is just bar chart. It's not using other charts that we have, like the line graph, like the start box, like the scatter graph. It's not using all of that. You see that as we proceed, you see these are all the representations of, you can see this one too is still using bar chart. It's still using pie chart. for this one is using bar chart. Now you can see that all ones are clumsy, like all these ones. Can you see this color that we have here? This particular color that says I run my own business is not showing very well, but there is a percentage of it. That's 68% persons that are registered, and it's having 7.3%, but it's not showing very well. So that representation is the good representation. You don't have all your data showing the way it's supposed to show. Here is showing where do you reside. Majority of the people that register for this course reside in Lagos. I reside in Lagos. Those outside Lagos are few. Then Lagos as well, those outside Lagos, people in Ogun and all that, they can pick their distance. This one too is also very clumsy. Can you see that in between these bar charts, there are some states that are indicated, but it's not so clear. So as data analyst, you cannot use this kind of bar chart as a representation because it's having several relationships. Now, I reside in Lagos, I reside outside Nigeria. So there are some international people that have also registered. I've not even seen this, I'm just seeing it now. Can you see that there are some people that register from abroad? Here I'm having, in fact, a quite number of them. That's 37 persons that have registered outside Nigeria. So there are some people from abroad in different countries that have registered that for this course, and that is 37% of them. So we also have people that are registered in Ogun State, Lagos, in Ogun, and all of that. But those ones are not showing very well. Why? Because it's having several relationships, and those several relationships, I cannot use a bar chart to represent it. It's not going to give me a good representation. This is another one that we have. This is another one. This is another one. Okay. I just need to show us that. Let's go into the business of the day so that I can show a little demonstration of our Excel sheets before we call it a day. All right. Let me go to my Excel sheet. Let me show you some things. Okay. Please hold on. If you can still hear me, please drop a thumb up. Let me be sure that I'm still with you and you are still with me. If you can still hear me, please drop. Thank you. Michelle Mafuro, thank you. Okay, so I can proceed since you can hear me. All right, thank you. I just need to be sure that everybody is being carried along. We have a recording video for this particular training, so it will be displayed to us in the drive. I'm looking for a particular data. Okay, training data for this January cohort. Can we see? Let's open this data. Let's look at this data in Excel. Can you look at this data? Can you see how this data is? This data is large. It's a large data, but it's not a data that is to be called a big data yet, because if you look at the numbers of the data that we have here, it's just 372. I think I have 372. It's not still a big data. A data can be considered a big data from 5,000 and above data. You can have some data that is of that level. So this is my pivot table diagram, and look at the pivot table. We are still coming there. So this is the data. Let's look at another data. Now this data, now we are going to come about the data visualization of those data and see how we can represent that data in our. Now this is also another data. What that data will look like is the work of a data analyst to begin to arrange this into a meaningful information that could be made for decision. So you can see how this data is. This data too is a bit long. I think I have 509 data. So it's the work of a data analyst to look into this data and begin to do some work on that data. Now in our recording video for this week, you will be learning on data cleaning and data validation. So like this data we are seeing, it is not a clean data. This is a data that can be considered as a semi-structured data. Well, if you look at this data, you see that here, this particular row, that my arrow is, in this particular row is empty kind of. This row also is empty. This row also is empty. Like that. I think it also structures for it's empty. So I cannot call this kind of data a structured data. So I will need to do some data cleaning and data validation on this kind of data that I have. This data as it is now, it doesn't even have an edge. So I cannot filter, I cannot do a slicer on this data. So I'm going to be doing some data cleaning and data validation. Please, in our recording video, please endeavor to go through it. I'm going to do a deep training on data cleaning and validation so that you know how to go about it. Now, if you look at the data, let's just look at the data generally so that you'll be able to study what our data is. Can you look at this data? You see that the space in between this D and B2s is more. And normally our data is supposed to have one space in between the words. But here is more. If you look at this one, you see that there is a space before the first word that we have here. So this is not the right way. We have to do a data cleaning to this kind of data that we have. This data we are seeing here does not have an heading. Doesn't have an heading. This data does not look at this. Another thing you see look at this data is, can you see this data? Here now, in this place we have the B2s. Here is capital B. This one is B2s. It's starting with small letter, with capital, then the rest is small letter. While this one, the rest, everything here in this D, THE, is capital letter. It means that this data has not been cleaned. So all of this is part of what we are going to be arranging, because if you don't do this, by the time you get to your data visualization, it's going to be giving you a presentation that might not be very clean. Look at this Bob Dylan. This Bob Dylan now, you can see this is like in proper case, while this one is showing that is in capital letters. All of these have to be arranged. So we'll deal with all of those things in our data cleaning and validation. We are going to be teaching ourselves on how to look at all of those things. So all these things are very, 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 very paramount. So if you look into your data, you begin to find some other anomalies in the data that you need to adjust appropriately. So all of those things, look at this data for instance also. This data is having a space in between the fork and the soap. All of those things are to be considered. But for the purpose of our data visualization that we want to focus on tonight, I will just look at a structured data. I think I have a structured data here. Let's look at it, structured data. So we might just extend the class a bit tonight. In the structured data, I just decided to look at this data because it's not much, so that we can, most times as a data analyst, we don't see data like this. So this data is still very small because we are just picking up with this class, and that's why I'm just making use of this data to just explain some things about data visualization to us. So if you look at this data now, this is a structured data because the data is clean. Here in model name, I'm having different model name here in this column. Here I have different price that was sold for each of those models: the Total, Toyota, the Honda, the Mitsubishi, the Volkswagen, the Ford, and all of that. I can now choose to perform data visualization on this data that I have. So if I want to perform data visualization on this data that I have, first thing I need to do is okay, let me select my data. Let me just do some little formatting on my data. Let me select my data. Maybe I should apply like 16 so that you can see my data clearly. Let me apply 16. Let me adjust this so that you can see it clearly. Let me adjust all of this. I'm adjusting the page margin. Now, this is what I have. Now, in this case now, the first thing you do once you do this is to now come to where you have your insert. Now, I'm going to my data visualization. When you now come to insert, in this insert, we are going to be making use of the basic tools that you make use of when it comes to data visualization is your table. This table here is called the standard table. While this one, this pivot table is the pivot table. This table here is the standard table. So the main thing you make use of is this table and also this chart. So under this table and this chart is very, very important for you to make use of it. You may not make use of the illustrations except you have some specific symbols or images that you want to use for your data visualization. So first thing I will do is to apply my standard table. There is difference between this standard table and pivot table. This is standard table, this is pivot table. Let me just explain this. In a standard table is a structure of rows and columns in Excel. No data is organized in a simple tabular form. It's a standard table. We call it a standard table. So the main purpose of a standard table is basically to help to store data, to help to organize data, and to help to perform some work on data, perform some work like sorting, like filtering on our data. But when it comes to this pivot table basically is a dynamic table. It makes use of interactive tools that help us to summarize and analyze our data. And that data can be presented in a very good way. So the standard table is more advanced. The standard table is more dynamic, is more interactive than the pivot table is more dynamic, is more interactive, and it accommodates a larger data set. But for the standard table, it can accommodate some data set in rows and columns that you can just organize and order. So let's perform some of those functions. Yeah. Once I select this, let me just apply my standard table. You see what is going to happen. Now, in my standard table, we see that my table has header. Does my table has header? In the data for your table, the data for my table is from A1. A1 is where we have model name up to F8. F8 is where we have this number. So it is selecting everything that I have it. So does it have my table? Does it have header? Yes. If it has header, you have to click it. If it does not have header, then you need to remove it. But this one is having header. That's why we are having model name, 21st of November, 21st of December, 22nd of January, and all of that. So we just apply this. You see that there will be a transformation to our data. Can you see what our data is showing? So I can choose to format my data here. Let's say I apply something like this. Let me just format it like this. Let's say I apply something like this. I can choose to format it in different ways and I want to format it. And these are some of the features that will help you to do, to remove duplicates, to summarize the pivot table, and all of that. So once this is done, because I have these parameters, now let me just click here. You see that this, from here now, I can begin to filter my work. For instance, if I say select all, if I remove select or if I unselect it and I click civic, you see what it's going to give me. So it's just giving me all the data for civic. If I come back here and say no, I want civic and Mitsubishi, to just give me all the data. No, let me come back here and Mitsubishi, and I say okay. It's just giving me all the data for Mitsubishi and civic. If I come here now, what I'm doing now is what we refer to as filtering. I can choose to filter. Now I can choose to filter to say filter text filter by equal by do not be equal. Everyone that is equals to a particular parameter, I can choose to filter it. I can say, okay, apply it to Volkswagen also. This is what I have. So in the same way, I can also just select all and say, oh yeah, display all my table. I can do this to all these ones too as well. I can also filter all this, and that's why it has selected it as heading to my work. So that is like applying a standard table. So that is the main essence of a standard table. If I choose to add another distance to it, you see it will automatically format it. Let's say I'm adding BMW. Let me add BMW. You see, can you see that it has automatically formatted it? Let's say this is 3 like this. This is 10285. This is 10056. This is 123899815 like this. Now, can you see that it has automatically formatted this? So I can choose to format this in different forms, apply different formatting to it, and all that. I can choose to just select this and say all border, things like this. So you can see it's well arranged. Now, this is where I'm going. We are still going to our visualization. I'm just trying to do some little cleaning and formatting to this text so that it will make more sense to us. All right, so if I select this, I still come back to insert. Now, look at what your pivot table will do. Let me explain this. Okay, I can still use my pivot table to explain it. So if I just select this, I'll just go to my pivot table. Now, in my pivot table, it's saying select a table or range which you have selected. We selected the table 1. Then it said choose where you want the pivot table to be placed. Now, I said in new sheet. You can place it in an existing sheet, but it's better you place it in a new sheet. Add this data to data model. We are not dealing with data modeling. Data modeling will be taught in our intermediate and master class. Our focus is not on data modeling for today. So I just click on this. Now, can you see? Now, this has generated a different thing for me. So I can name this. I can say standard pivot table. This is my pivot table. This is my pivot table. Now, can you see how my pivot table looks like? If I click on this pivot table and you look towards the left hand side of this sheet, you see that in my pivot table I'm having filter, column, rows, and data. This is what I'm having. Now, all of this is what enable you to do some of your charts and help you to pick some details on it. Like when I was talking about, okay, let me go back to that data that I looked at in pivot table. Now, this is the pivot table. When I was talking about these data that we have, this data here, you see that in this pivot table, we have a filter, the column, the row, and the volumes. And these are the representations of what the pivot table could give us. So let's go back to our Excel sheet. Please follow me. We'll soon round up. I don't want to take the time today. So in this my pivot table, I just want to see how this representation will go, because I'm having a small amount of data, so I can use different forms of charts to represent it. The bar chart, the column chart, the line chart. I can use the histogram and all that. So if I click on this model like this, you will see that this model has come to the row. This one is showing that. Let me unclick it. If I click it now, if I check it now, it comes to the row, showing that this particular one is a row in the cell that I have it. Let's come here. You see that this is the model that I have selected. This is row. This is also in the row. This is also in the row. This row in the cells that I have. So it will just help you to just arrange your parameters that you have. So your parameters here is showing this is column, 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 and this is your row. This your parameters here is showing. But when it comes to this place, you see that your model have been placed under model name. Why? Because your model is like a parameter that you are using to benchmark all of the values that you have. So in this case now, if I just say, okay, I want to know for the values, the amount of the cars that were sold for 21st of November, and I click this, it will come to this value that we have here. So once I check this, it will come to this value. Can you see what I have here? Now this is giving me a grand total of what I have without not putting any formula or any computations, which is showing 32,090. If I come to this data here, let's come here and apply our formula. Let's say equals to the sum. Don't forget, this is a function formula, and I say sum from here. I want to sum it from here to this place. This is what I'm summing, and I do like this. Can you see the result of what I have? The total here is 32,090. In the pivot table, the same thing it has given me here. Can you see that? So here, I can also filter in different forms that I want to filter it. I can choose to say, yes, I just want to have BMW. In BMW, this is what I have. Okay, I just want to know for only BMW, Ford, and SUV. If I do like this, it will just give me all the total. So I can do different forms of manipulations in this way. So let's check all of this. Then I can also choose to do some filtering to my values. I want values that are equals to a particular number, because our data set is not large. I might not perform all of this here. I want the top 10 in this value. I want top 10. I can say I want top 3, top this. Maybe here I can say, okay, let me remove the filtering, select all. Okay, then I come here, values. I can say, let it be, I want to know the top items, top 3 items that I have for here. Now if you look at this, you see that it was manually bring out the top 3 here. If I do like this, can you see this is the top 3? So those are part of the things a data analyst would do. So in this case, I can just choose to remove it because that is not clear filtering. To just give me all of the details that I have. So in this case now, I can now begin to apply my chart to these details. I can apply my chart to these details. If I come to insert, from this insert, let's see. Now these are different forms of charts that we have. From this insert, let me close it. Insert, go to recommended chart. You can choose to pick any of these charts. This is the map chart. This is the pivot chart. We have different charts, but you can choose to see all of the charts here. From here, we have column, the line chart, the pie chart, the bar chart, and all of that. That's all what we have here. So if I pick the column chart, it will just automatically give me the results of what I have here. Can you see the column chart? This is the column chart. Now, this is a data visualization that you can use. This is called a data visualization. So in this data visualization, I can now begin to just adjust some of those my elements that I have. This one now is showing that the chart title. This is the chart title. When I do like this, this is the chart title. It's saying, let's say this chart title is for instance, this is chart title. If I click this, it's saying that do I want it to be above, do I want it to be, you can give us several options. Another thing you can do is to just click it and say, let me just apply and say car sold on 21st November. I can say car sold on 21st November. Just to format this. So I can still come here, do some computations to it. I can say remove the green lines. If I don't want the green lines, let it just show like this in a way I can see it. This is legend. Can you see? This is the legend. I can say remove the legend. I'm not interested in it. I can choose to apply some colors here also. I can choose to apply some colors to my chart. Maybe I'm dealing with a company that makes use of brown and yellow, for instance. I can say, yes, let me apply this color to it. I can pick different colors from here. I can also come and pick style. This is the style that I might want to use. There are different styles that you can use for these different styles. So I can say, okay, let me make use of these styles like this. This is a data visualization that I'm doing now. So I can apply different styles to it. I can still come here and say, okay, oh, I want to apply, what else can I apply? Okay, data label. Now, this data label will help you. You can see that there are no numbers. We don't know what this value is. I can say, okay, apply data labels to know the exact values for each of these ones that I have. I can apply that to it. Another thing I can also do, I think I can also do some sorting arrangement to this data. Okay, for instance, let me go here. Let me select this. Let me select this. Okay. I can say, okay. I can say sort from the highest to lowest. So yeah, I can see the value. Okay, I'm trying to apply something to it. Please hold on. We'll soon round up. Sorry for taking your time. I just need to cover this. There are a lot of things to be done. Now, can you see that this is doing some arrangements to these details? It's doing some arrangements. But I want it to be from highest to lowest. Okay, model name. Okay, sort by this. Now, can you see the arrangement? It has arranged it appropriately. So I can also choose to say, let me go back to my filter, more sort options. This is from A to Z. I can say from Z to A, apply this. Can you see? It has given me a different arrangement entirely. I can choose to like, okay, these features, different features that can be applied. So this is for cards sold for this. This is a visualization already. This is a visualization. Let's duplicate this visualization so that we can do some other ones that we have there. Let's duplicate. If I want to duplicate, I will go to move or copy. From my move or copy, I say I want to duplicate the pivot table. Okay, let me rename this the pivot table. Please just follow me. I need to cover this tonight, at least to just gain some values for this one. I want to rename. Let's say, let me rename it 21st. This for 21st November. Okay, rename. All right, so here I'll just say move to copy, create a copy, then it has duplicate. This is a duplicate. This is what I have before. This is a duplicate. In this duplicate now, Let me go and apply the second one. I remove this. Now you can see the way as I'm applying the second one, it's still showing me this kind of chart. I can choose to put all of them in just one chart, but let me do that one by one first, then we'll come back to do the display. This is for 21st of December. It's different from what we have, so let's sort it. Let's sort this as well. Sort options, click this, then by model name, no, by sum. So let's have this. Now can you see this has done another arrangement entirely? So I have this arrangement. This is, I can just click this. This is for 21st of December. So I can just adjust this. Okay, this for 21st of December. Model name and all that. Okay, I can choose to leave that. 21st of December. Sorry, I need to finish this class. So let me do another duplicate for the next one. Move or copy. Create a duplicate. This. Then we have this already. I've done a duplicate. Let's go to the next one. 22nd of January. For 22nd of January, I have this. Let me sort it. More options. Click on this by value. Let's look at it. Can you see this is for 22nd of January? 22nd. Okay. I'm just extending the class a bit. I'm so sorry tonight. Please just follow me. I need to finish up this data visualization. Although we are still going to be doing some recording videos on it. This is 2nd of January. So let me do the last one. Duplicate this, create a copy, and all. Then for this last one, oh, I still have two more. This 22nd of March. Oh my God. Okay, so I have this. This is 22nd of March. Please just ensure you're following me. I'll soon be rounding up. 22nd of March. Let me sort it. Okay. I'm supposed to be doing a lot of formatting to this, but because of our time, I might not be able to do all of those formatting. This is 22nd of March. 22nd March. Then for the last one, let me do my duplicates. For the last one, move a copy, create a copy, and all. So let me look into it. Okay, change this. Let's look at the last one. Now I'm just applying this. The same method you use when the data is large, so it doesn't matter. So you just follow everything just the way it is. So this is what we have. This is 22nd. No. Okay. Okay, this is 22nd of March. Okay, this is 22nd of February. Sorry, I made a mistake. This February. 22nd of February. Oh, supposed to be doing a lot of formatting. No time. Let's take it this way. This is 22nd of March. Now, this is what we have. I can now choose to okay, this is my data. This is the representation. Okay, let's do one more thing. I want to see all the data. I can choose to apply different this thing also to this, but because of our time, I might not be able to do all of that. Because of our time, create a copy, create this, yes. So here, let me look at this. So this is all what we have. So at the end of the day, when we are done with all of this, okay, let me just apply different colors to them so that I can make it a bit different from what we have. I can choose to apply different charts to this also, depending on what I have. This like a different chart. This is a column chart. Okay, let me apply a bar chart. Let me see. Can you see how a bar chart looks like? Yeah. So I can apply different color, something like this. So my color must blend. My color must blend. At the end of the day, when all of this is done, you will now come to a new sheet. In this new sheet, this is when you are going to create your dashboard. In my dashboard, let me remove all green lines. I can just come here, copy this. Where's my sheet? I can say, I can just put it here to do some arrangements to my work. So I can arrange all of these parameters here in different forms that I want. I can come here, copy this as well, apply this here. No, so this is like creating my dashboard. There's a better way I can create my dashboard to make a good representation, but this is all what we have for tonight. So that we will know. I'm supposed to do a trend on the data. Because of our time, we might not be able to do all of that. Our time is fast spent. Oh, I never knew this would take so much of my time today. So I can choose to just have this as parameters. Okay, I think I'll just take my time for the videos so that I can have much more. Okay. Okay, let me just copy one more. Let me apply different color parameters. So let me just apply this. So this is my data visualization. This is all about your data visualization, actually. Nothing more than that. So I can choose to just represent it here. Okay. Okay, in this case now, let me make these cells. Okay. Let me make these cells so that I can put an heading to it. I can put an heading to my work. So sorry for tonight's class. We just need to extend it a bit. Okay, this is the heading. Let me go to mesh cells. We have talked about this before. I can say car car dealer company, car dealer company, something like this. Okay, let me centralize it. Then just apply my parameters, something like this. So this is more or less like a dashboard that I'm having. So this is a presentation of a dashboard. I can have different shape. We just decided to use the column and the bar chart, different ones, the column and the bar chart. So this is a representation. Once that is done, I can just choose to just save. I can choose to just save it maybe as a PDF so that I'll see how my work will come out, something like this, and do a representation of what I have. Okay. Okay, sorry, this I have made this to encroach into a different data. Sorry. Okay, so actually this is what I have. I wasn't considering the arrangement enough. So this is what I have. I can just do. So this is a representation of a dashboard. This is how a dashboard looks like actually. Let me hide this. Now this is a representation of a dashboard. So you might be doing some work that might entails you going through all of this process. Let me show you one of those dashboards that I just did of recent in Excel. Let me see. Okay. Okay, this is my sales performance dashboard. I just did some analysis on it. Yeah, I did it. This is a good representation. I can choose to just, I did all of this analysis that talks about sales performance from 2015 to 2017. Right? So this is what we'll be doing. So if I've taken my time a bit, I will have applied all of this and this. And at the end of the day, you do what we call a recommendation. The top sales representative for each year and all of that. A representation, a recommendation or a comment is what we refer to as storytelling in Excel. We call it storytelling. Just to say, okay, this is how this has performed. This is not how this has performed. Let me open the Excel file. You see how the data was. Okay, this is the Excel file. Can you see the Excel file? Okay. This is the Excel file. Excuse me. So this is the Excel file. Here I calculated region, revenue by region, what each region are benefiting, what they are producing, the trade sales strengths, and all of that. So at the end of the day, I brought all of this. This is the top 3 performing sales rep that we have. So I brought all of this, and this is the data representation. Can you see how large this data is? This data is about 9,972 data. So that's large, as in is large. But with the help of data visualization, I was able to make a representation of all of this data with ease. And this is what I have. So please, you will also need to do. So this is what we are going to be rounding up for today. This is where we are going to be rounding up for today. If you have any question, I will just entertain 2 questions for tonight because of our time, so that we can close fully. We spend 1.5 hours. Data analytics is an area that is very wide, and this is just a beginner-friendly class, so we might not be able to cover all of the things that we need to cover here. So that will be, and this is the second week of this cohort, rounding up on the data analytics with Excel. So if you have any questions, I will just permit you to ask your questions. So let me just put it on the questions for tonight, and that will be all for the day. If you have any other question thereafter, you can now. Please, some people are disturbing us, so I'm going to mute. I'm going to mute everybody. If you have something to say, please raise up your hand. Let me see your hand. Use the chat to just indicate that you have something to say. All right. Ayola Gabriel. I will entertain Ayola Gabriel. Ayola Gabriel, can you talk? Let me unmute you.
All right.
Okay.
Sir.
All right.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. All right. Sir, I want to ask a question pertaining the last class. That the question that we submitted, we were unable to see the results. And for this class now, I want to ask that can we have some data that we can work with? Although I saw the message somewhere.
All
can
right,
we have some, or can we form the data by ourselves?
All right. Thank you. All right. I want this data that I'm just giving to you is not a data that I formed. It's a data that I got somewhere. And the same way, you are not expected to form data because organizations collect data from customers, from clients, and all of that. With those data you are going to be working on. But if you want to repository data, data that are already available online, you can get them and use it to do your own forms of analysis, maybe to practice. You can do from Kaggle, K-A-G-G-L-E, Kaggle.com. It has several data that you can work on. Data on healthcare, data on education, data on banking or finance, on the industries and all that. So you can just pick any of those data, raw data, and do some analysis on them as a practice. Or you go to UCI. UCI is a machine learning platforms that individuals upload data on it, so you can go there. But on the case of the quiz that you have answered, the results will be displayed this week. This coming week, the results will be displayed. So, you will all have tonight to just finish up. Like tomorrow, the quiz, the first quiz, the quiz 1 for week 1 will be over, because you have another quiz to embark on. And also, there is going to be a group project, and that's why for those that have participated in the quiz 1 will be grouped, and each of the groups will embark on a project, and that project is to do a hands-on on what you have practiced, and be sure that you have followed us in this cohort, and you have aligned properly. And if you look at part of your grading systems, we said that for data analytics with Excel and data analytics with Power BI, it's taking 35 marks. That's about 70 marks. And that will be on the participation on the group project. There's going to be a group project that we will be submitting at the end of the day. And this is what also gives you qualifications for you to have our certifications. It's part of the requirement. Thank you. Any other questions? Then we'll call you for the day. One more question. If you have a question, you can raise up your hand. All right. In the absence of none, we can just call it a day. I want to appreciate everybody for joining tonight. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming to learn. Thank you for coming to unlearn. Thank you for coming to know. And from next week, we'll be starting on Power BI. We'll be starting on Power BI. So please stay tuned. Make sure you do a lot of practices. Make sure you do a lot of practices on what has been taught on Excel. So go through the resource video that have been made available. It has been made available for free. We are not selling the resource materials. There are plenty resource materials that will just explain some of the things I've done for you tonight. Please go through them. And also your recorded video for the week, it will be uploaded between tomorrow or Tuesday. Please endeavor to listen to it and participate. Then the slide that has been used tonight, and on this slide, let me look at the slide. Where is the slide again now? This slide will be, this is the slide, no, is it the slide we have used? The slide that we have used tonight will also be uploaded. Please go through your drive and endeavor to look at that slide again to give you the more insight on what we have talked about. So on that note, I want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you for joining. Thank you for coming to learn and unlearn. Till we see next week. Do have a wonderful night rest, and I wish everyone a great week. Thank you.